Chelsea lose 1-0 at home to Nottingham Forest, and was that a complete surprise? I would say not. Reason being, I'm going to focus on Nottingham Forest because they have been very good in their last couple of games. And you would argue that they would have deserved a little bit more from their Manchester United and Arsenal encounters. Now, in a trio of games that would see them face teams that were powerhouses for the last 15 years, if you had given Nottingham Forest this game 10 years ago, you would have seen them come out with no points. Which is why I kind of thought that previewing the game yesterday, Chelsea might have just a little too much for Nottingham Forest. But this game proved that they didn't. Chelsea are still an incoherent group of arguably talented players, but that's just what they are. Talented players. They are not a team yet. Maybe reminiscent of PSG sometimes when you look at them, because they just have not gelled yet. Now, they have a lot of young talent in them, but not enough for them to be cohesive enough in games such as this when you're facing a very well-organized team that are playing away from home and that are defensively sound. I think Nottingham Forest are going to be okay this season. And I say that because I've seen enough of them in the first 3 games to know that they are not going to be one of the 3 worst teams in the league. Now, I tuned into this game a little bit after halftime, after I lost a little bit of hope when I was watching the Manchester City game. And I was like, you know what? There might be a story developing here. Nottingham Forest have been very good defensively. They come to Stamford Bridge knowing that they are facing a team that does not have an identity yet. And worse off, Chelsea just don't seem to have the confidence in themselves. And I don't know if that's not coming straight from Pochettino, and you can't blame him because he has just joined the team. But it's going to be a slug, a long, long slug for Chelsea this season. And I think we have been giving Chelsea too much credit in thinking that they are still the Chelsea of 2 or 3 years ago. At this particular point, Chelsea are just a mid-table side. This is not to say that they won't improve or they won't get that little bit of coherence eventually, but at this particular point, Chelsea are a mid-table side. That is where they finished towards the end of last season, and that is where they are right now. On the other hand, Nottingham Forest are very good counterattacking. They are very good at holding the ball when they need to defensively. Worrell and the likes of Alanga were my standouts in this game. Willy Boley was really good again. And Nottingham Forest are they're impressive. I really like what Steve Cooper is doing with his team. And I did say yesterday that I hoped they would get something from this game. And the reason why I hoped that they would get something from this game is just because they are well organized. And you would be afraid for them in their second season because there is the myth of the second season drought and are they going to be able to stay up? But on the balance of looking at teams such as Everton's, teams such as Sheffield United, and teams such as Luton, I can comfortably say that I think there are at least 4, maybe 5 teams that Nottingham Forest is better than. As far as Chelsea goes, Chelsea need to do something. They have a collection of players who are now tied down to very long contracts. They're likely going to be at the club for a while, and they are going to struggle to move on these players if they don't work out. And that's a big if, because the season is going to be long. We still have 35 more games to go, but those could be 35 games of toil for Chelsea. And Chelsea don't have the best record of hosting and keeping managers or believing in managers' abilities. They let go of Tuchel, who I still regard as one of the best managers out right now. And if Chelsea don't realize it, they will struggle. They will struggle immensely to try and keep up with just the top 6 or top 7. Teams such as Brentford, teams such as West Ham, teams such as Aston Villa will be giving them a run for the money for that Europa League spot that I currently think they would probably be fighting for, because I do not see them as a top 4 team. Not at this point. And before they can establish themselves as a top 4 team, they might have to wait a couple of seasons. And I think we are still trying to think of Chelsea as that all-conquering Jose Mourinho side, that counter-attacking Antonio Conte side, or the Thomas Tuchel side that won the Champions League 3 years ago. And this is not that. This is not the same team. Chelsea are not well run at the moment. I never understood why Todd Boehly came in and let go of stalwarts of the team, such as Maria Granovskaya, who was very, very good at negotiating deals for Chelsea. His need and insistence to try and push away the scouting team and everything that Roman Abramovich had built over the last 20 or so odd years was just unexplainable to me. I couldn't understand why he would do that. And Chelsea will pay the price for that, because even if he does get it right, it might take him a long time. And when you hear stories about him going to the dressing room and talking to the players when Graham Potter was in charge, you just can't have stuff like that at a big club. You need to let go of the reins and let the manager do what the manager wants to do. Now, hopefully, Pochettino is not going to let any of that nonsense happen, but there's clearly a problem at Chelsea. And I always say that a team mirrors and plays in the same identity, demeanor as their manager. And right now, Pochettino looks like he's bereft of ideas, and so do Chelsea. He is still trying to tweak and learn what's going to work for his team, and you can see it out there. Because even in the last 10 to 15 minutes of this game, Chelsea did not really press or worry Nottingham Forest. All Nottingham Forest had to do was stay compact in their defensive shape, and that was it. So, worrying times for Chelsea. Good times for Nottingham Forest. I am very happy that they showed up. They showed that defensive resilience that we have seen in the last couple of games. And objectively speaking, like I said yesterday, I thought that they were very good defensively, and I wanted them to get something out of this game, because they deserved something from the Manchester United game. Although Arsenal did dominate large portions of that game, you could have seen them snatching a draw right at the end. It was very possible. So Nottingham Forest are looking good, but Chelsea need to shape up. Chelsea need to change. They need to change whatever identity they are being shown right now, whether it's managerially, whether it's by the owner and the team that he's surrounding himself with, because they are needlessly plunging into a crisis. And Pochettino's name is on the line, and everything he had worked to achieve at Tottenham and in his short stint at PSG could come crashing down on him if he does not shape up his team. It's going to be a long season for Chelsea, and I just don't understand why they needed to tear up a blueprint that was working for them before, regardless of who was going to become the team's custodian, which Roman Abramovich, think whatever you may about him, Roman Abramovich was a good custodian for Chelsea. And Todd Boehly at the moment is not. He is not proving to be a good custodian of the club. And while as an Arsenal fan, I probably should be rejoicing, as an objective football fan, I always keep saying you need a strong Chelsea, you need a strong Manchester United, you need a strong Arsenal, you might need a strong Tottenham, sure, yes. But you do need these teams to be strong, just so that the likes of Manchester City don't create a one-team league where they will just run away with the title every single season. So to see Stamford Bridge crumbling is not the most ideal thing for an objective football fan. But in some ways, it serves them right for their scattergun transfer policy and not putting things in place to transition the team well from one custodian to the other. And Todd Boehly is reaping exactly what he sowed. So, thank you for watching this. My name is Izzy. If you enjoy this content, go ahead and hit that like button, and make sure you hit that subscribe button to let YouTube know that you are enjoying this video. And guess what? Others will as well. But for now, this is my review of the Chelsea and Nottingham Forest game. Very proud of Nottingham Forest's defensive resilience in this game. And Chelsea, you need to shape up. Until the next one, guys. Peace.